Hey, what's up, movers? Coach Howe. Just wanted to go over a couple of resting postures that you can utilize throughout your day while at work or whatever it is that you have to do throughout your day. So a lot of us, since the pandemic, have adopted a remote position, or we are working in an office where we are at a desk all day long. If you have the luxury of working from home, this is probably going to be most applicable to you. If you're in an office setting, it might be a little uncomfortable to get on the ground, but if you are one of the people to break those barriers and get other people to follow along with you, kudos to you and more power to you. So first of all, this is a standing desk that I have in front of me. If you're not utilizing a standing desk, it's something that I would highly recommend that you invest in, and make sure you get something that can elevate, go up or down. This is a cheap, janky one. There's other more expensive stand-up desks that electronically go up and down, so whatever you feel like investing into, as long as you have the option to go from standing to a low-level sitting position, is going to be most ideal for what we're looking at here. And first and foremost, I'll just start out with the body never wants to be in a stagnant position, whether sitting or standing. So as we stand or sit at our desk throughout the day, it's important that we continue to stay moving and not sitting in a stagnant position or standing in a stagnant position for really any longer than 15 to 20 minutes. And your body will tell you when it wants to move. It gets irritated, it gets uncomfortable, stiff and rigid. All of these red lights start occurring, and we start feeling these sensations in our body, and which is our body telling us to move. But if we are stuck to a desk, there are some things that we can do throughout our workday to mitigate being stagnant and to feed our body good inputs. So let's just go ahead and start from the standing position. Standing at the desk, being aware of foot position is going to be very vital to what we're looking for. We don't want to get caught in a position where our feet are wide. We're collapsing in onto the inside of our feet and kind of pressurizing maybe one leg over the other. This type of stance really is not going to be conducive to what we're looking to do for our body. So being mindful of toes pointing forward, and not even the big toe, but the second toe, having the second toe over from the big toe pointing forward is going to be ideal. Keeping the knees straight, pointing forward, also ideal. And as we stand here, let's get used to playing with the pressure of our feet to the ground, which parts of your feet are working and pressurizing into the floor. Where do you feel pressure in your feet? Is it the big toe and the ball of the foot and the heel? Is it the outer blades? Is it the toes? Where is your pressure? Let's be aware of where our pressure is, connecting ourselves to the floor. What I would encourage you to do, and what I would really like to see, is that we are pressurizing from the outside of the foot. Obviously, if we're standing resting, our heels can be into the floor, but we are not putting the majority of our weight into our heels. We're holding weight on the outside blades of the foot, creating an arch, keeping the inside ankle bone hiked high, which it thus will activate lateral calves, hamstrings, and glutes. So if we can work into a position where our hips are slightly back, pressure is funnelizing to the outside of the feet, and knees pointing forward, you'll find that this is a strong, secure, more comfortable position than what we usually see here. Hips dump forward, chest and neck dump forward, and really leaning into the screen and getting into this posture here is what really causes a lot of low back pain, hip pain in the hip flexors up front. So if we can work on straight feet, straight knees, and hips back instead of hips jutted forward, then we're going to be in a much better position throughout the day, feeding our body good inputs as we work. And you can recognize you can actually get in some really spicy work with this. If you continue to push the butt back and brings the hips high, you can really start to activate all the backside, call for length in the backside, all while getting your business done. So you're getting money while making money. It's great stuff. Once again, we don't want to be stuck in this position for too long. The body's going to let us know. We're more than likely going to get fatigued in this position before our body's letting us know that it's tired of being in one spot. So as we fatigue in this position, I would actually encourage maybe some movement. Pressurize the left hip a little bit, push the left hip back a little bit more, allow the kneecap to open a little bit. It's almost like we're doing a drop in, but still supporting ourselves with some weight on the right leg, maybe 70-30, hike it up a little bit, 80-20, and put 80% of pressure into this leg, just a little bit of support on the opposite, and then switch it up. So as you're working, you can work with pushing the butt back, putting the hips back, juggling back and forth, side to side. This is all good stuff to play with. And if you do have a moment to maybe shake the arms out, you can bring the hands back to the rib cage or the sternum, cup the pecs, maybe get some backside engagement in the thoracic spine, and keep the head back, chin slightly tucked, really just looking to mitigate the tech neck position that we see so often as we get drowned into our work and start to round forward into this position. We want to do our best to hold this position throughout our day while we're working. And once again, putting a lot of pressure into the floor and being mindful of our feet, being mindful of our hips staying back. It's easy to get fatigued in this position. So as you start to fatigue and get worn out, we need energy to continue to work and do our job. So that's when I would argue it's time to take it to the ground. So if we want to take things to the ground, we have plenty of options. We have the Seiza sit, which is this position. Can be difficult for some people. If it is difficult, maybe you can construct some type of seating tool here to help you hike yourself up a little bit and make this position a little bit more comfortable. If you have a yoga block, maybe you could use that. There's plenty of different options. I've seen people play around with pillows, putting pillows underneath and between their knees to make this position more comfortable and more available, accessible. We don't want to be sitting in this position, discomfort, lots of pinching going on in the front end. That's obviously going to make the work we're trying to do that much more difficult. The whole idea here is to feed our body good inputs and feel good as we do these things. So use the tools that you have around you to make life a little bit easier. You may even find that putting a pillow on the floor is going to set and support your knees, and then you can get another pillow or some other item, some other tool to support the backside and sit here in the Seiza squat. So if we've done a good 15-20 minutes of standing work while working, we get fatigued, we need to come to the ground and rest on the ground here. We can spend another 10 minutes in this position, and once our knees or legs, once our body starts giving us a sign that we need to move more, well then let's go ahead and do that. We can raise ourselves up off the floor, bring our butt up, still keeping our hips back, still staying engaged. Once again, this might light up the backside a bit. So if we're not quite ready to put ourselves back to work and we still need to rest, by all means, continue to use the tools that you have. But let's go to a single kneeling stance. We can bring it back to the floor to a single kneeling Seiza. So we're looking at a position like this. We're looking at another position here, 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 and here, all of which are available to us whenever we want. We just need to listen to our body, give it the inputs it needs, and play around just functioning in our workday through these different positions, eventually working our way back up to the top. And once again, if you're getting fatigued, you don't have to make this a complete exercise. You can relax. You don't have to have the butt all the way back. Let's just make sure we're not having hips in front of ankles jutting forward and getting stuck into this position here. Bring the hips back, neutral, back a little bit more if you really want to turn things up and get spicy with it. And then once again, bring it to the ground when you need to if you're tired. And having a desk that moves up and down with you is going to make this a lot easier. It's going to make your life a lot easier, and hopefully it's going to make your day at work much better. Once again, being on the 2 feet, if you really just want to play with things, you can always bring one foot up, rest on one leg. This was probably my go-to when I was working from home with a remote position. I love to just dig my hip back, get as deep and loaded as I could, lift the other leg, set it on top of this foot, and hang out for a bit. Use my desk to kind of create more length, make sure I'm keeping my head and shoulders up, and just kind of playing with it and have fun with it. And you'll be amazed at what quality inputs you can give yourself throughout your workday, and you'll be recoding while you're working, getting that money while making money. I hope this video helps. Stay blessed.